And for the first time in 9 years, the big time returns to Workington. Leeds, one of the biggest names in the game, provide the dream opening to the season here at Derwent Park.
This is it. It all starts now. Need to get a good start. Gotta concentrate. Gotta work hard. Need to tackle early. Need to support the ball carrier. No silly passes. Keep on your toes. Keep your balance. No mistakes.
We hope so. It's great to be back with you here on Sky Sports with the big league on a Friday night. I think you'll agree that Friday nights just haven't been the same since the middle of May, have they? Well, we're here for 9 months, 30 live matches, same again on Sunday, and I think you should look out for one or two little subtle changes in the way that we bring the big league to you over the course of this brand new season. Up here in the studio, very little changes. The boy is back. Steve-O is large as life and twice as dangerous. Good to see you again, old boy.
Great to be back, Eddie, and I'm sure that we're going to have a great season. What a season in prospect indeed. But I suppose the big question that everybody's going to be asking is, can Leeds, at fact, win the Stones Championship? Quite frankly, I'm going to make all the Leeds fans very, very happy indeed, because I think that Leeds this season, on paper and on the paddock, they will be the team to beat.
Certainly, as far as Gary Schofield is concerned, Steve-O, the Great Britain captain, he has a big chance tonight. He's playing standoff half because Alan Tate is injured. Graham Holroyd drops back to fullback for the first time in his career, and it's a great opportunity for Schofield to rubber stamp his place in the Great Britain team.
Not only that, but if he plays in all three tests, then of course he will be the highest capped player and beat Mick Sullivan's record. But he has to be selected for all three. And also it's important that Schofield does play well early in the season, because Leeds, unfortunately, do not get off to a flying start. They've also got to start winning away from home. They only won 6 games last season, and their coach Doug Lawton has to rectify that, and I think he will.
Well, joining us in the studio tonight is a Workington Town legend, a man who went on to great things at Salford, where he won the World Cup in 1972 with a certain other fellow who's not too far away from him tonight. It's Paul Charlton, of course. Paul, it's great to see you here tonight, and what a night for Cumbria. The big league returns.
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely fantastic for the big league to return to Workington. They've been looking forward to this for about 10, 12 years, and to start over again with Leeds is going to be tremendous.
I was reading in the papers this morning that as far as Workington are concerned, it's a little bit of a lull the town is going through in terms of industry and jobs, but the fact that this place is buzzing, it really has given Workington a lift.
Yeah, certainly has. Certainly got to give them a big lift, and let's hope they can pull it off tonight. It's going to be hard, but it'll be even bigger lift for Workington if they can win tonight.
Well, that's the thing, Steve-O, isn't it? I mean, if Workington can put one over on Leeds, the big spenders, well, everyone should look around, shouldn't they?
Well, I think so, and I think that they have to go out very, very quickly in the piece. They have to really rattle this star-studded Leeds side. They've got to get out there early and mix, and I'm sure that their coach, Peter Walsh, will have them well and truly instructed. I think that perhaps when you look at the Leeds side, they've only got one weakness, and that's the fact that Graham Holroyd has had to drop back into the full-back position, and to my knowledge, the youngster has never played in the #1 jersey, and I'm sure that Workington will be giving him plenty of work tonight.
Well, of course, these two sides and the rest in the big league looking to topple Wigan as champions, and I wonder what will happen over the next 9 months. You'll be able to follow it every inch of the way right here with us on Sky Sports. Well, it's our first live big league visit to Workington on Sky, the new boys of the First Division, of course, and each and every week we shall be bringing you a potted biography of the club that we are visiting that particular night. This time, first up, it's Workington Town, new boys to the First Division. In fact, they've come to the First Division from the Third in just 2 seasons.
Work was really playing in a town that might only be called a large village compared with the great cities like Manchester and Leeds. The whole population were deeply engrossed in the fortunes of town, both in the 50s and didn't stop, and in the 60s. And as for myself, I've never seen a bad game of rugby anyway, so I've no regrets about the game that I saw.
Tom Mitchell, I bet he will be among the crowd here tonight at Derwent Park. He is one of the larger-than-life characters in this particular part of the world. Well, we have a beautiful night in Cumbria. The night is absolutely perfect for rugby league as the big league returns to Derwent Park. It's Workington Town against Leeds, and coming up next, we check out the teams. Night. It's a lovely balmy evening, conditions perfect for rugby league. Two sides hell-bent on getting off to the best possible start. Let's check out the team lineups for you now. The fullbacks, first of all, Mark Mulligan, the Australian, and teenager Graham Holroyd. Alan Tate has hamstring trouble. Wingers, Desi Drummond, he's no stranger to the big league, and Jim Fallon, one of the deadliest finishers in the game. No Stuart Cocker, so Paul Penrice begins the season on the wing. Youngster Francis Cummins, one of the stars of the Great Britain Academy Tour this summer. In the centre, former St Helens man Tony Kay and New Zealand international Kevin Iro, champion with Wigan twice. And Vince Fawcett left Headingley for Workington in the summer. The fate has decided that he makes his debut against his former club and Craig Innes. Standoff sees the Second Division Player of the Year Martin Oglenby up against the man who will lead Great Britain against the Aussies this autumn, Gary Schofield, and he knows where Leeds' priorities lie this season.
The big one we're after is a Stonesborough Championship, and if we can get the consistency, and if we can go up till Christmas, let's say, maybe losing no more than 2 or 3 games, because the last 2 or 3 years we've got better after Christmas. The consistency's been there, and we've been a better side, so we get that consistency before Christmas, and I'm sure we're going to move the show.
The halfback, Steen Marwood, is up against the French international captain Patrick Ontar on his Leeds debut. The props, Neil Harmon of Leeds and Fijian international James Pickering, who's sure the Town are ready for their tilt at the big league.
Not going out there playing all the First Division teams and like coming to the game and saying, we're playing Leeds or we're playing Wigan. I think we're going to lose. If we're going to do that, we may as well stay in the Second Division. We're going to get out there and give it our best shot, and I'm sure we'll surprise a few teams, and by the end of the season, hopefully, we've done our best and we're still there.
Also at prop, the Aussie Gary Schubert goes up against Harvey Howard. The hookers see Phil McKenzie, who has loads of big league experience, and young Marcus Vasilakopoulos, who takes over from the injured James Lowes. In the second row, it's Paul Burns head-to-head with Kiwi international Gary Mercer. And Workington's big summer acquisition, Billy McGuinty from the champions Wigan, against another Great Britain international, Richard Ayres. The loose forward sees Brad Heppy of Workington and the incomparable Ellery Hanley of Leeds. The coaches, Peter Walsh and Doug Lawton, the man who last denied Wigan the title in 1988 and 1989. There we are, then that's the way the two sides line up tonight here, and it's going to be a tremendous match. We had a great start to the season last season, you may remember, when Leeds took part in that opening fixture. They beat Castleford that night. They're slow starters though. Will Workington catch them cold tonight? Well, as I've said all evening, it's a glorious evening out there. And, well, as far as this part of the world is concerned, this is the biggest night of the year. I think I'm right, aren't I, Bill Arthur?
You certainly are, Eddie. There are huge queues outside Derwent Park. They're anticipating a crowd of around 7,000, and there are several thousand from Leeds here tonight. One man then who's going to be bitterly disappointed to miss out on this game is the Leeds fullback, Alan Tate, who comes from this part of the country, or at least grew up in this part of the country, and you must be really sore to miss this one because of your hamstring injury.
Yeah, it's really disappointing, training 8 weeks up to this first game and pulling a hamstring 3 days before. But I've come to support the lads, and we're looking at a strong side.
But you are, or you were in Workington for a long time during the days of your youth. You've been back today. What's the mood in the town? Yeah,
they're absolutely buzzing. I spoke to a few of my mates this afternoon in town. They're really looking forward to it, and the big league's here. It's come to Cumbria. They'll make the most of it. I hope they do well. But we get the 2 points tonight.
But there's a big sentimental link for you, isn't there, with Workington Town, because of your father?
Yeah, my dad played here in the late 60s, early 70s, and he got a few friends up here as well. And a few of them are here tonight as well.
But as you say, it's Leeds who you want to go away with the 2 points tonight and get what is a really big season for you, off to a great start.
Yeah, we're looking for a big season, and 2 points tonight would help. We're glad we're coming up here early doors. Ike's got the pitch looking really well, there's grass all over, and I think it'll suit our lads.
We'll see, Alan. Thanks very much indeed. And if it's an omen for Leeds, then in the season 60-61, when they first won the title They started that championship campaign with a victory here at Workington.
Wouldn't they love to do it again? Let's check out the head-to-heads between these two. They've only played 14, but as you can see, Workington, they've won only 3. Leeds have got 9 wins. They've drawn twice, and Workington have won 2 of their 7 matches here at Derwent Park. Can they win tonight? Well, a lot of people, you know, are delighted to see the big league cameras and Steve-O and myself back in action again for another season, including, it must be said, the programme writer here at Workington Town, because in tonight's programme there is an ode to Steve-O. Now then, 19th of the 8th is a night of delight as the TV descends on DP for the night. Miles of thick cable, cameras and crew, technicians up cranes and all just for you. But one problem remains, and a big one at that. The gantry door's too narrow for someone who's fat. Ah, those long summer months spent idling away on beaches at Bondi with 4 Barbies a day. Although it's their winter, the weather's been nice and Steve-O's been home for some tinnies with ice. But just think what's in store for our best commentator on returning to Britain for another cold winter. Up and down ladders and squeezing through doors, windswept pitch interviews while the rain pours. So an ample girth is the vital factor if surviving the season is what you are after. So carry on, Eddie, Steve-O and crew. Fridays are never the same without you. Thanks to Neil Williamson.
Emotional, I'm moved. The Sydney Whippet, I've lost 2 stones. It's going to be a long, hard season for you, Eddie, I can tell.
It certainly is. I'm glad you didn't say £10 because it would obviously have come out of the wallet and nowhere else. He looks well, though, doesn't he? He looks fit and he's raring to go, as we all are, for the big league. Steve-O, a great match in prospect, no doubt about it.
I think so. I think on paper, as we mentioned earlier, that Leeds have to be red-hot favourites. But they have come unstuck at the start of the season many, many times. And I'm sure that Workington will go with all guns blazing. I think the first 15 minutes will certainly tell. But when you look through this Leeds side, every single one in the 15 in the squad, they have had international representation all the way through, and as far as I'm concerned, they just can't be beaten. And I'm trying to keep the Leeds side and their fans very happy with the knowledge that I think that Leeds, this will be their season.
Well, I think as we look at Kevin Iro and company, Francis Cummins just behind him and Gary Schofield, it is a big night for him. I think we ought to just redress the balance slightly and talk to Paul Charlton about the importance of this match to Workington. I don't think Steve-O is writing Workington off, Paul, but it is one heck of a task that Town have got tonight.
Yeah, considering the top players that Leeds have signed over the close season, they've got one hell of a task. But, you know, these boys here, they've got plenty of spirit, plenty of guts, and I'm sure they'll give 80 minutes of good hard football to Leeds.
We've mentioned that Leeds have strengthened, and indeed they have, but so have Workington. I know Peter Walsh has given the majority of his players the chance to establish themselves in the big league, but McGinty is an important signing for them, as is Vinnie Fawcett.
Yeah, you did right. These guys have got to strengthen the squad. They're good players, and no two ways about it. No, this Fawcett, he was, I think he was only 21 international.
Yes, he was.
Billy McGinty, he's played for Great Britain, so there's 2 quality players there to help the lads at Workington.
A lot of people, Steve-O, think that you bounce up to the big league, you bounce straight back down unless you strengthen, unless you get yourself sorted for the challenge that lies ahead. Are Workington odds on to go down, or will they stay up?
I don't think so. I think Workington have done very well to get a man as experienced as Billy McGinty, and Fawcett is a very talented player, still a young player. The one thing that Workington has always displayed over the last couple of seasons is the fact they have tremendous team spirit. And believe you me, team spirit can take you so far. Perhaps later in the season, Workington are going to find it very, very difficult, as do a lot of other clubs, because they do not have the depth of, say, the Wigans or the St Helens. But I think early in the season, a lot of people and a lot of clubs are going to be very, very reluctant to come up to Workington and play on this ground.
Well, the Toon Army in this part of the world is legendary. Esseni Familo, the man that Leeds purchased from Widnes, along with George Mann from St Helens in the closed season. There they are. And what is more, there is about £170,000 of the talent on your screens just now, and they're only on the bench, Steve-O. What luxury for Doug Lawton.
Well, we keep mentioning, don't we, that Lawton always said that he would purchase a side that will make the Leeds town, the Leeds city, should I say, very, very proud indeed. Well, I think Alf Davis mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. He said, look, the time now is to stop talking. We are now going to have action out on the paddock. A lot of pressure on Doug Lawton, a lot of pressure on the star players, but as I mentioned before, I think we'll see the best side that Leeds has put out since the 60s.
Yes, no more false dawns, they've said, but this is the opposition that they have got to face tonight. Not just what's on the field, but what's on the terraces too. Steve, we know from the couple of times that we did Workington in Division 2 last season, this lot are vociferous, to say the least.
If I knew what that meant, Eddie. Yes,
it means they're a bit noisy.
Oh, well, yes, they are. Sir. No, seriously, I think that the fact that home support, as I mentioned before, not a lot of teams are going to enjoy coming up here, especially in the winter when it gets very, very cold. It's quite cold. It's quite cold up here today. So that gives you some indication when it gets round to about December and January, not many players will like to tackle very low on a hard Derwent Park.
Paul, I've seen it said in the papers today that you come up the A66 to Workington and it's the road to nowhere. That's a little bit unkind, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't say that, Eddie. No,
it's certainly not the road to nowhere, is it?
Definitely not.
This is a tremendous rugby town.
Definitely, you know, it's been over the years, over the last 25 years, we've had some good teams up here. Okay, we've had a bit of a lull for the last 7, 8, 9 years. Now they're back in the big league. It's a real boost for the town.
And Workington, can they do it tonight?
They've got a good chance as anybody if they put their minds together, if their attitude's right, and they generally work hard at the game.
Steve-O?
I think their attitude will be right. I think the first 20 minutes are going to be very, very important for this Workington side. They know they're in the big league. Leeds have been in it for quite some time. I don't think they've ever been out of it. But I think that Leeds' superior power and their knowledge and their experience, they have to win tonight.
Well, that slim neck that has come back from Australia is well and truly on the line tonight. OK, it's Workington Town against Leeds then, and we're what, just over 5 minutes or so away from kick-off, and that is coming up next. The whole match live, Workington Town and this Town Army against the big spenders and the Glamour Club Leeds. Workington Town have gone from the 3rd Division to the big league in the last 2 years under Peter Walsh, and tonight they face what could be their ultimate test against Leeds here at Derwent Park. It's Leeds' first league visit to this part of the world in 9 years, and they have got a huge crowd inside Derwent Park to see them. It is a great night for the Town Army and for Leeds. Leeds will be looking for a big start. Workington will be looking for the sort of start that will confirm their right to a place amongst the game's elite. Excited youngsters. It really has been buzzing in this town all week about this bumper start to the brand new season. The pitch is in magnificent condition, a testimony to the way the ground staff have worked here. It really is the most perfect night and perfect setting for rugby league. And Ellery Hanley leads on to the field for this opening match of the season. Hanley, the Great Britain international with 36 caps under his belt, 344 tries in just over 400 games in the big league. And what a night for Gary Schofield. Gets his chance again in the number 6 jersey. And as you can see, it's the first time in quite a while that he has played at standoff half. He knows how important tonight is for him and for his Great Britain aspirations. But it's quite a night too for Billy McGuinty and the Workington Town team. They've battled their way from 3rd Division to the 1st. And the man who starred in that World Club Challenge defeat of the Broncos in June this year is now earning his corn up here in Cumbria in the big league with Workington Town. Exciting days for McGuinty, exciting days for Workington, and let's confirm their team for you. Mulligan, Drummond, Kay, Fawcett, Penrice, Oglenby and Marwood. And the forwards, a big job for these forwards. Pickering, Mackenzie, who's the captain tonight, Schubert, Burns, McGuinty and Heppy. And on the bench, Colin Armstrong, club captain, and Stephen Holgate, a member of the Bala touring squad to the South Pacific this summer, and the coach is Peter Walsh. Vince Fawcett, I wonder when he moved from Leeds, the 23-year-old, whether he really did believe that the opening match of the season would be against his former club. And there they are. Leeds have Holroyd at full-back, Tate out injured, Fallon and Iro, Innes, Cummins, Schofield and Onta. And the forwards, and what a pack this is: Harmon, Vasilikopoulos for the injured James Lowes, Howard, Mercer, Ayres and Hanley, the skipper. And on the bench, not bad to have two Kiwi internationals waiting to come on, and Doug Lawton says they will be on, George Mann and Assini for Milo. The match referee is Robert Connolly from Wigan, who is asking the two sides to change ends. There is quite a strong breeze, as you can see, blowing from left to right as you watch, and Workington will be playing with that breeze at their backs in this first half. So we're just about ready for the start of the 1994-95 Big League campaign. Wigan, the champions, the team that they're all out there to shoot at. The Stones Bidder Championship is up for grabs over the next 9 months. Will Leeds be good enough? Will Workington be good enough to put in a really tremendous showing in the competition? Des Drummond knows what it takes to play well in the top company. So here we go, live from Derwent Park, Workington Leeds. The championship is underway. Holroyd kicks off. Ogilvie allows the ball to bounce over his head on the lush turf, and here comes James Pickering. Leeds piling in on him. Harvey Howard first in with the big hit.
Well, you can see straight away that Leeds mean business in the defensive department. Moving up in one strong line there.
Phil Mackenzie of Workington is the dummy half. This is Gary Schubert, the prop forward. Mackenzie, the man who's directing operations, did so to great effect for Widnes for so long. That was a mistake by Billy McGinty, his first touch. Dropped the ball.
Obviously nerves there by the former Wigan star. Looking to step as the ball came to him. Talking about the wind, it's very strong and it's Leeds' advantage in this first half. And I'm sure that Leeds will use the big kick.
Good tackling though by Workington. The man disappearing under the challenge was Richard Ayres. Vasilikopoulos was the dummy half. Long ball to Schofield. Anxious for a big game. Believes he's the best number 6 in the country still, bar none, and wants to put in a big performance tonight to remind Malcolm Reilly just how good he is. Iro almost lost the ball, got it back second attempt, and the beast really does take some bringing down when he gets going. It's the last tackle for Leeds. It has been an excellent defensive display, this from Workington. A high up and under which catches the breeze. Mulligan's coming for it. Drummond is there too, but the ball bounces back. Cummins will collect it just outside the 20-metre mark. It's still the last tackle. Here's Schofield now. Dabs the ball forward, one for Fallon to chase. Mulligan is there, and Mulligan picks up and does well to get out of trouble. That's great play by the Workington fullback.
Oh, star play there by the fullback Mulligan. It was a superbly weighted kick from Schofield, but Mulligan was equal to the task there. Surprising, we saw the kick there from Holroyd. The wind is swirling, perhaps not too much the advantage way of Leeds.
It was a clever and an intelligent kick from Schofield that wreaked so much havoc, but wasn't Mulligan up to the task. And there's interference there on Heppy as he tried to play the ball. The referee says play on. Ogilvie slips the pass neatly to Pickering, the Fijian international.
Well, you can see they would interfere with there, but good refereeing from Robert Connolly. He's allowing the advantage, and you can see that Workington have gone well and truly, even though they've lost possession there. They will have the feed at the scrum. It's worked out well for them.
Neil Harmon was barreled into touch.
There you see the ball was flipped back, but the big prop forward, and it was Vince Fawcett, the ex-Leeds player, really got the shoulder into the prop forward.
3 minutes of the 94-95 season gone then. Nerves showing for Workington as they come into the big league for the first time. Player of the year, Martin Ogilvie, just couldn't hang on.
Well, you could see that the number 6, Ogilvie, had overrun the pass. It's a nervous time for this Workington Town side. Back in the big league for quite some time.
Now this is Jim Fallon. beginning his third season in rugby league, 38 tries from 67 games so far. An excellent record. Here's Mercer. This now is Craig Innes. He gets the ball inside to Cummins. Remember that length of the field try that Cummins scored in the Wembley Spectacular last May. Vasilikopoulos, the dummy half, finds Onta. Onta to Holroyd. Holroyd helps it on to Schofield. Schofield to Iro. Iro out wide to Fallon. Good tackle coming in again though from Fawcett. The ex-Leeds man is having a storming opening 4 minutes.
Superb. He sized up the situation. Eye on the target. That target was Fallon. Superb tackle. Not so much the copybook. You saw that the man put his head in front of the tackle, but it was effective enough.
It's Heppy, the loose forward with the white headband round the ears. And that's little Dean Marwood, the scrum half. He disappears under the challenge from Richie Ayres. McKenzie gets the ball away to McGinty. That's a better second touch for McGinty.
Pretty hard start also for the referees at the start of the season, Eddie, because all the sides are pretty fit, and quite frankly they're moving up extremely quickly. And there you can see they've forced Workington well back, making no advantage at all.
Both sides have been keen as mustard in training. Good kick downfield that from Mulligan, and it finds touch just 5 metres or so from the Leeds corner flag.
Good thinking by Mulligan. You can see that he kept the ball in a low trajectory, kept it out of the wind, picked his spot superbly. No one at home. They'll hope for Leeds to make a mistake when they win the scrum.
Australian Mark Mulligan joined from Lakes United in the Newcastle area just a couple of years ago. It's Leeds who have the possession, but not for long. Fawcett drops on the loose ball. On tap with the mistake, I think.
Well, it was suicide there to try to bring in the full back when you're in your own quarter. Overconfidence on the Leeds side. You just don't do that.
This is Marwood trying to prize the opening second rower on the burst. Is Paul Burns, and he's in for the first try. Connolly on the spot says he touched it down. Leeds dispute the decision, but it's Burns with the try that has set Derwent Park alight. What a start for the newcomers to the big league.
They took the option for the big kick that Leeds would come up with a mistake. They did. One play the ball, they went high on the second row of Paul Burns. They suffered the price, and that's 4 points. Super play, good call from Marwood out there. We can see that the Leeds went too high. Vasilikopoulos was at fault. You've got to go low, and that man in for the first try of the big league, 94-95.
Paul Burns with the try. He is a former centre. This is Marwood, who adds the extra two. And they're dancing on the terraces here at Derwent Park. Workington with the perfect start.
You can see Marwood is called on the blind side, and look where the Leeds players are. They've stood still. They have not moved up quick enough. But look at this high tackle. You've got to go low. Vasilikopoulos, they paid the price. Super try. What a start to the season to that man.
Paul Burns, he missed a third of last season injured, but he played a big part in the promotion push, and he's played a big part in Workington's first try of the season. Pickering with the run. They will be boosted, their confidence, by that, Steve-O.
It's a dream start that they were looking for. We mentioned before the game that they had to get in amongst this Leeds side. But let's not go back to that. Let's go, should I say, go back to the fact that Leeds went suicidal when they tried to do a move. Ontar tried to bring the full back in. They overran it. The mistake was there, and Workington scored the fourth.
Workington then in possession with McGinty once more. On the halfway line, it's the last tackle for Workington in this set of 6. And that ball went out on the full. Play will be brought back, and it will be the automatic turnover from the halfway line.
Well, the thought was there, wasn't it, from Phil McKenzie, the Workington skipper. Saw that Leeds were a little bit slack once again on the blind side. It will be the turnover. It was on the last. Leeds really have got to roll the sleeves up now. Get into this game quickly. Forget about that mistake.
Harvey Howard takes some dragging down. 3 of them bring him to earth eventually. Vasilakopoulos is the dummy half. Hanley was the runner. Onta hands the ball off to Richard Ayres. Good tackling though from Workington. They wanted to be competitive in the big league. Early days yet. They lead 6-0. But my word, they are competitive so far. Innes will attack down this left-hand side. He has Cummins, who cuts inside. That's a good tackle by Schubert, but he still manages to release the ball. And Onta is driven into the Cumbria turf.
Super play from the Craig Innes and Francis Cummins combination, centre and winger. Cummins just coming in at the right time. That's the key to Leeds. And that is great tackling from Workington.
Hanley running square across the field of play, brought down. Here's Holroyd, dabs the ball forward. Pickering got a foot to it. It's play on. The big Fijian is showing up well early on here too.
Trying to get the individual skills doing the full-back Graham Holroyd. But I think that Leeds players weren't too happy with that. They were setting up for a move out wide. They're just at 6s and 7s, I'm afraid, Leeds. They've been shocked by this opener from Workington.
Penalty to Workington. Holding down in the tackle.
Well, you see the big second rower, Richard Ayres, pushing the man to the ground. No doubt in the mind of Robert Connolly. He's done well as Connolly at the start of this game. He's allowed a lot of advantage, and that's what the crowd love to see. So do the players.
Mulligan gives the penalty plenty of air. Midway inside the Leeds half, Workington will come again. Here's Schubert, the prop forward. Early days yet, 10 minutes of the season gone, but what a start for Workington. Leeds unbeaten in their last 4 league and cup visits here. A run that stretches back to 1980. Brad Heppy on his own, running straight.
Good play by Workington, nothing too fancy. They're working very tight in the forwards.
McGinty, a strong run. Good tackle that time from Patrick Onta. Mackenzie, dummy half. Gets the ball away to Paul Burns. Ball drops. Drummond does well. Under pressure from Cummins.
It was knocked down by a Leeds player, was it?
It was. 6 to go, says Robert Connolly.
I thought a hand just got in there. You can see it was Innes, the New Zealand international.
Hanley and Schofield, the men doing the tackling. And it was Schubert, the prop forward, who felt the weight of that. This is Oglenby. Oh, Mulligan just spilled the pass. It was the easiest pass probably Mulligan will get all season. Just took his eye off it.
Simple basic move. They run through the dummy. He comes out wide, links out from the fullback position. As you mentioned, Eddie, just took the eye off the ball at the crucial moment. But what a start for Town.
Yes, the dream start. Long way to go though. But it's great tackling from Workington. That was Fawcett and Oglenby, but they were just a little bit too over-eager on Jim Fallon, and somebody used the hand to pull the ankle down.
Well, you see that Fawcett just got the feet in the way, and then both players were out of the way. Oglenby was a man pulling at the side. Referee Connolly had 2 to choose from. Either way, it's a penalty and a relieving one to Leeds.
So Leeds just inside their own half, and Harmon will run this ball forward, but my word, Schubert and Heppy and then Pickering moving in to finish him off. Vasilakopoulos, the dummy half. Onta, the French captain. Great tackling from Workington. Look at this.
Well, we knew they were going to be fit. We knew that they would go with all the guns blazing. And Leeds do not need reminding that Workington are back in the big league. This is a great defensive display from them so far. That's got to be a penalty. No.
No, Connolly has ruled that he'll take the scrum. The Workington player was running back when the ball struck him.
Well, if a man is in that position, then he is being deemed to be offside when the ball is being played. That is an unusual one. I certainly would dispute that.
Charity from Robert Connolly. Leeds, though, had head and feed. Here's Iro. Iro, short ball to Fallon. They're a bit short out here at Workington, but Innes is cutting inside. And Fawcett, who seems to be all over the field, is the man doing the tackling. He has a point to prove, Vince Fawcett. Released by Leeds. Onta, that's a good ball to Innes. Iro steaming up outside. There's Iro, the big man. Good tackling again, though. Pickering came in very late.
Good low tackle by Marwood there, and they've given away a penalty, surely.
Yes, Pickering was all over Kevin Iro.
Well, Pickering lucky to not get a professional foul against him. 10 minutes in the sin bin.
They've taken it quickly, Leeds. Here's Cummins again, who cuts in once more off that wing. McGinty is there to meet him head on. Leeds, though, in the danger zone with Gary Mercer. Spins in the tackle, finds Vasilakopoulos. Innes was the runner, looked high from Oglenby.
He just pulled the arm away very quickly to the stand-off Oglenby. It was a good job too.
Here's Hanley. Hanley for the line. Workington hold him up again. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4 to hold up the lead skipper. Fawcett is there again.
Good thinking though from Hanley. You could see that the defence had just been a little bit too slow on that blind side. Nearly got away with it.
Schofield dabs the ball over the top, and I think the referee has said that Schofield was impeded there as he chased his own kick through. McGinty.
Well, McGinty, he was deemed to have gone into the path. Only took one step, but that was enough for Connolly to do that. He had every time to get out of the way. Now, a player does not have to move away, but if he does move his feet into the line where he was going for the ball, and that's what was deemed by the referee Connolly there. Just shows you, Eddie, that they're not too confident of getting everything organised. They're going for the gift of 2. This is the replay, just a kick over the top. Now you see, he just takes a little bit of a step, not much, but he moves the body across, and that was enough.
So it's Graham Holroyd, the full-back, to get the Leeds scoreboard moving with this penalty. Meat and drink for Holroyd, a kicker of that quality. So Leeds back in the hunt here. It's 6-2.
They'll be quite relieved, will the Leeds side, and I'm sure that their coach Doug Lawton also a relieved man. Let's not forget, of course, that Gary Schofield playing at standoff. He hasn't done that for quite some time, and the new halfback in Patrick Ontar. So they'll be a little bit ropey to start with, but I'm sure that Workington won't mind that.
Yes, interestingly enough, Steve-O, earlier in the week, it wasn't Schofield and Ontat, the half-back combination. It was Schofield and Holroyd. Then Tate pulled the hamstring. Holroyd went to full-back, and Schofield got a chance.
Well, that's
Meanwhile, a bad error from Gary Mercer.
Bad mistake. Ricochets off the player. There you can see it comes off Entar's right foot, and then once again from Mercer. Now, why didn't Mercer go for that? He perhaps thought that the ball had not touched his halfback. Either way, that could go out on the full, and it has.
And so it's a penalty to Workington, bang in front of the sticks. That's a bad error.
Well, for the first mistake that Leeds made, Workington made them pay the price with 6 points. This surely will be a gift, 2 points now for the town. And they'll be happy. It's been the dream start that they were looking for and what they've been training for all through the off-season.
Will Leeds immediately get themselves back in the match with the penalty? Then they concede the penalty from bang in front, 10 metres out, and Marwood makes no mistake. And the difference is back to 6 points. It's Workington 8, Leeds 2.
Plenty of work to do from this Leeds outfit. I'm sure the word will be going out from Dougie Lawton to get back to basics.
Well, that was a basic error, wasn't it, Steve-O, by Graham Holroyd?
Well, they are the top side. We mentioned before they have all the talent, but if you make simple, elementary mistakes like that, you're going to pay the price.
Here's Gary Schubert, big Australian prop forward, 27 years old. Mackenzie at dummy half, and to engineer something here for Workington.
Well, there you see Workington playing it very basic. First man just taking it through. They'll opt for position, go for the kick.
And there is the kick from Mulligan. Again, he drills it towards the corner. And once more, a perfect kick from the fullback. He finds touch.
Typical Australian tactics, aren't they? Not surprising with their coach, Peter Walsh. from the Antipodes, and everything seems to be going right. Australian Mark Mulligan, certainly good tactician. Things are working out very well indeed.
Remember, it was from a scrum in a similar situation. Leeds made the error that led to the first try from Paul Burns. This time, the men in white, in possession now with Mercer, will be anxious to hang on to that ball. Here's Iro. That was a good ball.
Well, it certainly was a good ball, but it was a dangerous one. Once again, within your own quarter.
There's the mistake. They get away with it, though. Do they know the ball was propelled in a forward direction?
Well, they're going through the nightmare, aren't they? I think this Leeds side have come out with the sort of thought that all they have to do is go through the motions. Well, they realise now that they've got to roll up the sleeves, and the forwards particularly, this is the mistake that came about of it. They can see how the Workington defence was moving up very quickly. They really have got a job ahead of them, this Leeds side.
I can tell you, by the way, that Ellery Hanley queried that decision with Robert Connolly, the referee. Wasn't convinced that it was a penalty, rather a knock-on, but that was a penalty. Hanley's hand was in there and was fiddling with the ball.
So was the second row, Richard Ayres, but you can see the craft of the lead skipper, Ellery Hanley, looks somewhat pained. Things are not going right for this Leeds side.
Right, Leeds are going to make a change, and for the first time this season, down to the touchline and Bill.
Neil Harmon, who took a bit of a knock just then, is coming off. I think that change was underway even before he got that knock, and on comes one of Leeds' summer signings, Saini Faimalo, who cost them, after a tribunal's decision, 95 grand from Widnes, so he makes his first appearance for Leeds.
And he will have to wait to get into the action, because Dean Marwood fancies a chance here at another 2 points for Workington as a result of that penalty given away by Ellery Hanley. It's a 100% record so far for Marwood. The crowd hushes as Marwood comes in, clips it into the air, and the roar will tell you that Leeds are really up against it here. The new boys ahead, 10 points to 2. Steve-O, you have stiffened Leeds.
Well, the magic wand certainly going the Workington Town way, but full credit to them. They've played good basic forward play, whereas Leeds, they tried to be far too classy, far too early.
Referee John Connolly has just blown the whistle. He is going to allow Workington to make a substitution themselves. And on comes Colin Armstrong, and it's the prop forward Gary Schubert who goes off. Schubert, who's done well in the opening 20 minutes here, but Buck Armstrong, last season's skipper, led the club to championship and premiership double, and he gets an early chance to impress. Armstrong's on then. Pickering, though, is in possession from the kick-off. No wonder this fellow is a big, big favourite here. First touch for Armstrong.
There you see the difference in the two sides. And is he going to allow
must
that?
be offside.
Well,
No.
he's allowed it. Did he go around the side? Either way, they've got away with it. A little bit of lady luck shining in the lead side. There's a good run from the substitute Armstrong. Puts it down to play. And rightly so, there was no one there. Trying to rush the game. But I was just about to say, Eddie, the difference between the two sides at the moment is that Workington are bouncing through. The Leeds defenders are just bouncing off these big Workington forwards.
Here's Vasilakopoulos taking matters into his own hands. Pickering was in late then. Vasilakopoulos felt that. The big Fijian fell with his full weight on the youngster. Onta, long ball finds Schofield. Iro is there and called for it. Innes wanted it on the short side, but Iro elects instead to go on his own and then finds Mercer. Ball bounces back. Referee says play on, and Workington have it back. Schofield hacks the ball forward from the play the ball. It's 6 to go. Heppy will run it out, but only as far as Mercer. Well, no chance here, Steve-O, to catch your breath.
No, it's pretty quick stuff from both sides, but Leeds are getting into that panic situation where they're just trying to force the pass. They just expect everything to fall their way. They're not doing the hard work. There's no runs from the dummy half. They look to have no cohesion, and things have to be sorted out quickly.
And this Workington Town crowd really is enjoying what they're seeing. They're screaming, they're shouting, they're urging their team forward. Here's Armstrong, and of course we shouldn't forget that Workington really are no strangers to the big occasion. Old Trafford in successive seasons. Lost to Featherstone 2 years ago, won this year, but they've now got to stop Cummins. And they do, 3 of them. Fawcett's there again. What a dream debut Fawcett's having. Harvey Howard, strength on tap. Mercer.
Well, look at that. Mercer was looking for support. There was no one there. The moment was there. The Workington defence was hanging off. Just no one to back up.
First touch for Familo, the man that Leeds prized away from Widnes in the summer. Vasilikopoulos. Richie Ayres, another former Widnes man. Ayres anxious to get on with it. Vasilikopoulos finds Patrick Onta. He finds Gary Schofield, who in turn finds Holroyd, who finds Innes. Innes back inside to Cummins. Great tackle, Drummond. Heffy was there to finish him off too. Last tackle.
It had to be a good tackle as well, because one of the stars for Leeds is Francis Cummins.
And that is a woeful kick from Gary Schofield. I think he tried to hang this one in the air, Steve-O, with the wind, but look at what happened. It ran dead in goal.
Far too strong. Things just not working out. I'd like to be a fly on the wall at half-time in the Leeds dressing room. I'm sure that Douglas Lawton will have plenty to say. But the main factor they've got to do is that the forwards have got to do their work down the middle. You can see Leeds are desperate to get the ball out wide, and when you've got players like Iro and Innes in the centres, you can understand why. Fallon and Cummins on the wings, they've got the speed, but they've got to do the work first.
Dean Marwood is dumped to the ground eventually by the big man Harvey Howard. Let's hear from the injured Workington winger Stuart Cocker, star last season, out tonight. Penalty Workington, by the way, while we go down to Cocker and Bill Arthur.
Stuart, this is an unbelievable start for Workington.
Tremendous start. Just what we hope for, sort of thing. We've 8 points in the lead. We've just got to keep completing us. Sets to 6. I think we've completed 3 so far, but brilliant.
But this must have exceeded all expectations.
Well, certainly. I think we've caught Leeds on the up. As it is, we always felt if we got down in there 25, we'd be able to score. Unfortunately, the first time we did.
And now you seem to have them panicking. They don't seem to know how to respond.
Well, yes, at the moment, half-time, they'll come out, I should imagine, all fired up again. We've just got to be able to contain them and hopefully finish with us nose in front.
Stuart Cocker, such an important cog in the Workington wheel last year that got out of the second division. He had septicemia earlier in the week, was in hospital on a drip, I understand. And good to know that he is out and here tonight to cheer this Workington Town team on. Meanwhile, Steve-O, what happened with that ball bouncing in the corner?
Well, it has me totally confused. It should have gone dead in goal, but I thought it had bounced back into the field of play. I thought it should have been a tap from the 22. But it was a dropout. Confusing. But it is the start of the season.
Oglenby. Great strength and speed from Oglenby. The second division player of the year last season. And Workington Town are setting Derwent Park alight. And Mercer, rightly, is penalised. He wouldn't let Oglenby get to his feet. That was a professional foul.
Well, that's the second professional foul, one on both sides. It's Mercer that's really doing the work there. It was a great run from the number 6, Oglenby. He caught the Leeds defence napping on the blind side again. But the most important factor, when Oglenby had made the break, here you see that Mercer is, yes, Gary Mercer is all over the top of him. He did not panic. He did not just try a stupid pass. He knows that they are in the control of this game so far. Look at this beautiful run. Throws the dummy. They just hang back. You could see that it was Mercer. I'm not surprised Mercer got upset about the fact that he just laid over him, because he was just absolutely stood up for speed and skill.
Dean Marwood, 3 from 3. This the most difficult. Drifts it in on the wind. Bounces back off the post. Who will react first? Workington have got it back. Well, that's unbelievable. And it's Colin Armstrong who was the first to react. He is happy. Leeds just caught napping as that ball bounced back off the post. They're in trouble again. Marwood Good ball to Pickering, who'll use the strength and weight. Releases the pass. Heppy is there. Heppy for the post. So close. Desperate defence this from Leeds. They've got to let him get to his feet. Mackenzie makes a meal of it.
Well, not the finish that we're looking for. The captain would be very, very disappointed with that. You know exactly what he was going to do. There you see, just a little knock on, the fingertips getting in the way, a little bit over excitement coming into the game. Leeds very fortunate to get away with that.
Fallon looking for work, the Leeds winger. Handling errors, Workington have made 4, Leeds have made 2. And there is another penalty to Leeds. Messing around at the play of the ball.
Well, little doubt about that. You can see the substitute Armstrong pushing the player down. Connolly, no doubt. Now, what can Leeds do? Basically, what they should be doing is just playing out their 6 tackles. Not panicking. Let's get to the half-time break and let's reconstruct. Let's get it all sorted out.
Vasilakopoulos finds Hanley. Hanley running straight. And Pickering, the man who finishes him off.
Well, that's the type of run that I've been calling for, and I'm sure that coach Doug Lawton will want the same.
Schofield, that's a good ball to Iro. Iro's in space, only got Mulligan to beat. Mulligan does well. Schofield is there in support, and Schofield will touch down underneath the sticks. Great support play from Gary Schofield. Iro with the run, and Schofield, the poacher supreme. What a record in terms of try scoring for Gary Schofield, and here's another.
And what a record, but what a relief from this. This all came about from some good, strong runs by the forward. The first time that Leeds have ever put it to it. They took 2 runs on the blind side. Look at the strength of this man. It took 3 to get through to him. The ball back on the inside. That's the type of place that you take the gamble. Not in your own quarter. When you're in the opposition quarter, the result, the 4 points. 2 good runs. It was a beautiful pass from Schofield, delayed at the right time. This man has all the strength back inside. For all you youngsters watching, the ball was passed by Schofield. He didn't stand still. He supported the man on the inside and was rewarded with a try that I'm sure that Leeds are very relieved to get.
Yes, big sigh of relief. Holroyd jogging back from bang in front just a second or 2 ago. Holroyd kicks the extra 2, and so Leeds now are very much back in the hunt of a match that was in danger of running away from them. 10 points to 8. Again, Workington hit the post, but this time direct from the kickoff. Anta will collect it. Here's Vasilakopoulos, starting to run now from dummy half.
Well, that really has changed the complexion. You can see how this Leeds side has lifted. More of relief, I would imagine. One of the very few clean breaks that they've made. But that should pave the way.
And here's Innes. Cummins is in support, and that was a great ball in field from Innes to Cummins, and he is bundled into touch. Is Francis Cummins. Good defence from Drummond and Kay.
Well, they've been the stars so far, aren't they? Craig Innes and Francis Cummins for Leeds. Every time they've got possession of the football, they've combined well. But it had to take a brilliant tackle from Mark Mulligan again. He's having a wow of a game as a Workington fullback.
You might have noticed that George Mann was involved in that move. He has replaced Harvey Howard. George Mann, then, the second big money signing of the summer, has come on. He was just moving away from the tackle with number 14 on his back. George Mann, St Helens last season, Leeds now. Oglenby. And it's George Mann who got the tackle in.
Little doubt, Eddie, that Doug Lawton realises that he needs the forward power now to start bursting through, dragging this defence from Workington, because he knows he has the class and the speed out wide in the 3 quarters in the Leeds camp. And that's why he's brought on his 2 substitutes, Mann and Faimalo, in my opinion.
Well, he did say, Doug Lawton, when I spoke to him this week, that they would certainly be on after about 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't think he honestly thought, though, that they would have to come on with his Leeds team trailing by 10 points to 2 as they were, but still. They're back in the hunt now, and Mercer starting to run very strongly indeed. But Fallon could not pick up the ball, neither could Workington. Penrice has it now, but the referee will pull them back for the first knock on, and there it was.
You could see that Gary Mercer bringing the ball back inside to his fellow New Zealander, the centre Kevin Iro, and Iro just took his eyes off the football there. Good defence there from Iro. Moved right up to Vince Fawcett, allowed him no room at all.
Big tall figure of Tony Kay. Workington certainly are bossing it in terms of possession, but only just. Leeds have most definitely come back into the picture very strongly in the last, 5-10 minutes. McGinty picks himself up. This is Armstrong now. Colin Armstrong, 5 caps for Cumbria, and of course the Aussies will start their kangaroo tour here at Derwent Park at the beginning of October. I wonder whether Mr. Armstrong will be in that Cumbrian side. Marwood with a drop goal attempt, just pushes it wide. Going for the one-pointer, Marwood.
He realises the importance there. You can see the just drifting outside of the post. Tricky wind, as we mentioned earlier, but he knew that that 1 point could prove very, very important late in the game.
For Workington, a great run that from Milo, really bounced to Heppy off him. Workington now, I think, would be looking to get to half-time with this 2-point lead intact, but they still have 5 minutes to hang on, and Leeds are creeping more and more back into the picture.
Well, with tackling like that from the centre, Tony Kay, that's what the doctor is ordering. They've got to move in quickly. They realised even before this game started that you can't allow Leeds with so much class the time to run.
Mercer is running now. Last tackle, though. It's good defensive stint this by Workington. Leeds just inside their half of the field, but that's a high kick. Underneath it, oh, well, they almost made a meal of it, Mulligan and Drummond, but Mulligan took control of the situation, and off he goes. Hanley is tracking him down. That's a good run from Hanley. Lost a lot of his speed as the mid-30s Leeds skipper, but he certainly was able to pull Mulligan down then.
It was a try-saver. Mulligan was surprised there, but they haven't done Workington.
This is Oglenby. He gets away from Iro. Oglenby for the corner and scores the try. Martin Oglenby. He was not to be denied. And last season's second division player of the year has set the big league alight.
Workington have worked this blind side on so many occasions. See how the Leeds defence held off. They went for a high shot, and look at that. They did not move out wide. You can see Fallon's out there all on his own. What on earth was the winger doing there? He was in two minds whether to come in or out, but it was nothing other than scoring a try for Workington's point of view. There you can see the late shot. That came from Mercer. They held off. Once Iro missed it, you can see that Fallon is all at sea. Do I come back inside, outside? And this guy said, I'm taking 4 points. Great play, and what a time to score a try.
One or two people thought perhaps it was a gamble to play Oglenby at standoff. He was a star in the forwards last season for Workington, but my word, isn't the gamble, if gamble it be, from Peter Walsh, isn't it paying off? Marwood will try and drift this one in on the wind. Kicking well, isn't he? The little man gives Workington a 16-8 half-time advantage, perhaps with just seconds remaining.
Look at this, Fallon the winger there, caught in the middle. He's got 5 men to look after. Not surprisingly, he was all at sea. Do I go in? Do I go out? Do I come back in? Do I stay? Either way, there was the gap. It was real poor defence, not just on Fallon's part, but all the Leeds defence. And they, once again, have conceded a vital 4 points just before the half-time break.
Vince Fawcett, hasn't he enjoyed his opening 40 minutes in the blue and white of Workington? We have just a couple of minutes left for play. in this first half. Here comes Pickering again, driving down the middle. Oh, and he's taking some stick there from Ayres and Vasilakopoulos. And now Pickering has got Richie Ayres in a headlock. He was trying to milk a penalty.
But the importance of such a strong run from that man, Pickering, James Pickering, you could see attracted 4 or 5 players to him. It allowed the fullback Mark Mulligan to get into a perfect position. And the kicking from Mulligan has been superb in this first half. And the running from that man, the big prop forward, James Pickering. He is setting this Derwent crowd alight.
The referee is calling Richie Ayres and James Pickering to him because of all that wrestling and argy-bargy that was going on. Pickering was certainly trying to milk the penalty from referee Robert Connolly. He would have none of it. And he's just telling the 2 big forwards, listen, we're here to play rugby league. This is not a wrestling match.
Well, there you see, there's no doubt that Pickering is at fault, and Pickering is quite lucky to get away with that. No way that the Leeds player could get away.
Ontat, the French international captain, the star of an otherwise poor, and that's probably the kindest word I can use, French tour, down under this summer.
Disappointing more than poor.
They lost to Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and James Pickering was in the side, the number 8 there for Workington. And of course Australia, a match we saw on Sky Sports. That's when you were on the beach at Bondi, Steve-O, of course.
Northern Beaches, thank you.
It's Richie Ayres who's in possession for Leeds. It's now with Vasilakopoulos, and he is Hanley. Hanley trying to swat people out of the way, but Workington sticking to the task really well.
Hanley realises the importance of leading by example, but when you've got defence like that and mistakes like that, well, I hate to say it, but this is Leeds of old over the last 4 or 5 years, isn't it? Lack of concentration, the mistakes are coming plentiful.
Gary Schofield will not want to remember this opening 40 minutes other than the try that he scored, of course. Workington have bossed it, 16-8, the scoreline, a fair reflection of this first half. And there is the half-time siren. 16 points to 8. The new boys to the big league have had the most perfect of starts. Leeds have been hit by a Workington whirlwind here. Gary Schofield will no doubt go into the dressing room and hear the words of wisdom from his coach Doug Lawton. Des Drummond knows what the big league's all about, and this must have been one of the most important 40 minutes of his or their lives. The Workington Town supporters and players maybe can't believe this situation. They lead here by 16 points to 8, and once again Leeds have it all to do second half.
Can you believe it? Workington Town, the new boys to the big league, ahead by 16 points to 8 against one of the biggest names in the game. Mighty Leeds from Headingley. Burns and Oglenby, the try scorers. Marwood, reliable with the goal kicking. Schofield with the try for Leeds, and Holroyd with 2 goals for the Loiners. 16 points to 8. Derwent Park has seen nothing like this for a good few years. There is one very proud Cumbrian, I rather fancy, sitting here with us in the studio tonight, and that's Paul Charlton. Paul G, it must be great to be a Cumbrian tonight.
Oh, you did right, Eddie. Absolutely tremendous. What a performance the first half was. Let's hope they can continue the second half and get the result down at Derwent Park, first game of the season.
Honestly, is it a result or at half-time that you could dare have expected or dare to even think about?
Well, as I said before, I thought the lads are all geared up for the game. There's plenty of enthusiasm there, and big effort from everybody was involved. OK, Leeds made 1 or 2 mistakes, but they capitalised on that, and they got over the line, and now the pressure on Leeds. They've got to perform to get out of this hole.
And we said, didn't we, before the match started, that they are a noisy lot here at Derwent Park, and they have made their feelings known to Steve-O and I as we've made our way to the studio here. And Steve-O, I rather fancy that the Leeds public will be making themselves known to you as well later in the week.
Oh,
you have stiffened them.
I think we've got a long way to go. There's still 40 minutes in this game, and Dougie Lawton, well, I think in the first half he's been out-coached. I think Peter Walsh should take a lot of credit for the way that he's prepared his working inside. He's done them very, very proud indeed, mainly due to the fact that they've done safety-first rugby league football. They've used the forwards, they played it just first one out. OK, it may not be the prettiest style of football, but let's face it, they're coming into the big league and they want to come in with a bang. But they want to come in very steady too. Their kicking game has been excellent. Armstrong at fullback has been in sensational form, both with his kicking, his linking well, and the way that he's defending, it's been superb. More of the same, please.
I just wonder, Steve, whether Workington will have the strength and the fitness to see them through the next 40 minutes.
Well, I think time will tell. I think that once they get the confidence going, and if they can still do the same sort of thing in the first 20 minutes that we saw in the first half, then yes, their confidence will definitely grow. But they've got to do the same thing. Leeds, they've got plenty to do.
Well, early in the piece we saw the mistake from Patrick Onta. It was, remember, Leeds feed at the scrum, and then they just surrendered the ball, didn't they?
Well, it's just, to me, it's suicide to try a short pass within your own quarter. The French halfback Onta should have gone to ground with the football.
This is what it led to. It was about 2 tackles further on, and Burns was not going to be stopped from here.
Well, I'm not surprised the way that the Leeds defence, you've got to go low. They spent hours and hours doing this, tackling, and they didn't do it. I'm sure that Lawton will have plenty to say.
The one time, though, that Leeds did break through, well, they got their reward, and Iro showing again, Steve, what a strong lad he is.
Oh, he's a very, very good player, but let's not take anything away from Schofield. Schofield's lovely run there, and then he came back on the inside. Super support play, but I mentioned in the commentary that you've got to use your forward power. That came about from 2 strong runs by the forwards. That's something that has been missing in this Leeds outfit in the first half. But another mistake brought this. There you see, look, men going high, not moving up in one straight line. Workington have found Leeds out on a few occasions on the blind side. And poor defence there, and poor Fallon. He did not know where to go. Get a hamburger, drink, didn't matter. This guy went straight in for a try. And full credit to Workington, they have played some very good, solid football, and when they've got in a position to get there, they've used the blind side to great effect.
Can they keep it going in the second half? That is the question, and it will all be answered in the next 40 minutes. Workington in the driving seat at half-time here. They are ahead by 16 points to 8. Derwent Park at the moment pinching itself. It cannot believe what it's seen. 40 minutes to...
Teams are out for the second half. Look at the half-time situation here. Workington 16, Leeds 8. Back in the big time, Workington for the first time in 9 years. And the team tackling an indication of just how much Workington have bossed the show in the first half. Scrums, there have been 12 of them. Penalties all square, as are the handling errors. And Workington just shading the first 40 minutes by 51% to 49%. But they have not known anything like this at Derwent Park for a long, long time. And James Pickering, well, he was a big favourite here in this part of the world before this game got underway. I rather fancy, Steve-O, the big Fijian can have the keys to the town hall after this.
Yes, I think the beer will be flowing freely if they can get away with this one, but there's still 40 minutes to play, and I'm sure that Leeds will be playing the second half with the thoughts of their coach ringing in their ears.
So we're underway, second half of the first match of the Stonesborough Championship season, 94-95. And the new boys have really rattled the cage of Leeds here. Ahead by 16 points to 8. Don't forget that during the period that we have seen the reintroduction of 2-division football in this game since 1973, so many teams have come up from Division 2 and then have gone straight back down. As we watch this mistake, I'll come back to that point in a moment, but Vasilakopoulos losing the ball in the tackle, Steve-O, again.
Well, it's a mistake that Leeds did not want. The crowd quite happy with it. And this could be a real confidence booster if Workington can make something out of this.
It's Oglamby in possession. Just back to that statistic. Of 69 teams that have gained promotion, 45 have suffered immediate relegation. That's 65%. But Workington, in this mood, will not be adding to that statistic. It has been a great opening half to their big league campaign. The driving run from Billy McGinty. He will certainly have the fitness. And Armstrong takes over now, releases the ball, gets it back. McKenzie looks for the other options. Fawcett, what he would give for a try against his former club. Running straight, running strong, held up just 5 metres short of the line. Workington beginning the second half as they ended the first. It's with Mackenzie. Short pass to Oglenby, another short ball to Heppy. Heppy looking to keep the movement going, but eventually deciding to hang on. Penrice gets the ball to Mackenzie, dabs the ball through. It bounces off a Leeds foot, and it's...
Well, the idea was there from Mackenzie. The Workington crowd screaming that they thought that the Leeds player was offside. A lot of pressure there. You can see the ball coming back off the substitute for Milo.
And it was the other sub, George Mann, who picked it up. Was he offside? Well, Connolly said no. About 7,000 Workington fans said yes, he was.
But we saw very early in the piece there that the Leeds defence was all at sea again. We saw the wonderful run from the centre, Vince Fawcett, and they just stood there and allowed the centre to run right through.
Here's Iro. Always danger when Iro gets the ball, but Mackenzie is there as Iro tried to get away from the heavy traffic. A bit of help from Oglenby too brought the big Kiwi down. Here's another big Kiwi for Milo. To Iro once more. Fawcett having a storming debut for Workington Town. Vasilakopoulos to Schofield. Helps it wide to Onta. On to Ayres. This is Mercer, and it's better from Leeds. They have Innes. Innes turns the ball back inside. It was a little too ambitious. Drummond collects the loose ball.
But why the panic? Why the ball try to get back on the inside there? Surely that would have been set to this Leeds side. Let's just play out our 6 and get into the swing of things, into the game plan. They're finding it very difficult. This Workington side is moving up quickly. They're not allowing them to get that flow in movement.
Pickering now on halfway. Despite the fact that he's got Richie Ayres and Hanley round him, still manages to make 5 metres progress. Mackenzie darting away.
You can see how Workington now are slowing things down. They're trying to keep control of this game.
Here's McGinty.
In the first half, they were very quick, trying to get the ball played quickly, but now they're slowing it down. They're using the right tactics. Take your time, boys. That's what was being said by Peter Walsh.
Ball is clipped high. Fallon didn't fancy it. Did he get a touch? No, he didn't. It's head and feed to Leeds. Mulligan's kick almost deceived the Leeds winger, didn't it?
He nearly got fingertips to that as well, but a great kick there from Mulligan. They're the tactics. They're in charge. It's Leeds that have to go on the catch-up football, and not a happy Dougie Lawton.
Looks a worried man, doesn't he? Long way to go in the season yet, though, but I know he was anxious for a very good start to the season. Ontat didn't play that ball properly. That ball almost spilled between his legs.
I think it was interfered with there. That was good refereeing from Connolly to allow advantage. But they really are being crunched. There you see it. Definitely interference from a Workington player. Good refereeing. Play on. But look at the defence there. They are just not allowing Leeds any room at all.
Here's Onta. Can he engineer something on his debut for Leeds? Not this time.
That's a point, Eddie. The halfback situation, Schofield and Onta, they really haven't clicked, have they? They've never got the link going on very few occasions.
This is the last tackle for Leeds. Ayres eventually picks himself up. There's Holroyd. He just drifts one into the empty space. Mulligan comes across, but the bounce will beat everybody, and that ball runs touch in goal.
Not the best kick from the youngster there. The idea was there. He's not happy with it, and rightly so.
Just back off the academy tour to Australia, Graham Holroyd. Disastrous in terms of results for the Great Britain youngsters, but I'm sure a valuable chapter in their period of development. They know what they have to aspire to really make it big in international football. Mackenzie with a darting little run. Here's Oglenby trying to run straight over the top of his opposite number, Gary Schofield. Couldn't do so. Mackenzie again, darting away from dummy half. Support is there. That's Burns, scorer of the first try.
It's wonderful football.
And Burns loses it. Referee Connolly looks to the touch judge and then gets the nod. And the referee points to the touch judge and says, he says it was a knock-on.
No doubt about it. You'll see that Burns tries to get to off the ground. A lot of interference there from both parties.
I think the Workington player actually who pushed Schofield off the grounded player added to the knock-on situation. Here's Iro, dumped to the floor by Oglenby. Forward pass surely from Holroyd to Cummins, and referee Robert Connolly agrees.
Well, if you had any doubt, this crowd up here certainly went on it. I thought it was 50-50 in my book. I'm surprised that the youngsters are a bit confused about it. But they really are all at sea, this Leeds outfit. And let's not take anything away. Well, that looked all right to me. I didn't think that was forward. But I'm not the merry whistler.
And they're certainly not arguing here in Cumbria. And there's another knock-on. That decision goes for Leeds. Oglenby shows his disgust with the decision, and for back-chatting, he concedes the penalty.
Well, not smart thinking there from the number 6, Oglenby. OK, it went against him, but you can't say a few choice words to the man who's got the P in the whistle. He will always be the boss. Keep it shut.
On halfway, it's Leeds who restart. In possession with Onta. Oh, Mercer coughs up possession. Penrice has it.
How many times has Leeds handed over possession early in the tackle count?
And Onta there was messing around at the play the ball, flicked a leg out.
Well, it was a bit of 50-50. The Frenchman did catch some studs. Not happy with it. Rightly so. Robert Connolly just saying, come on fellas, let's just calm it down a little bit. Frustration from the Leeds camp, and not surprisingly, things are not going right, and it's mainly due to the fact they are not getting themselves organised.
You said, though, at half-time, Steve-O, the opening 10, 15, 20 minutes were going to be important to Workington Town. They're not shirking the responsibility, are they?
None whatsoever. They are doing what we said. Let's see more of what we saw in the first 40 minutes, and they are playing to plan. Congratulations to the players and the coach, Peter Walsh.
Here's Mulligan, the full-back. Oh, that's great support play from Pickering, but it was ruled forward. Referee Connolly was spot on then, and James Pickering has a wry little smile.
So did Ellery Hanley. Relief was shown all over the Leeds skipper's face. They are running Leeds ragged. This defence is all at sea.
Here's Iro, a man who can cause havoc. Here's another one, Innes. Speed from Innes. Again, Cummins cuts inside, tries to go round Drummond. Heppy finishes the youngster off. You want to be careful, Workington. They're just messing around at the play of the ball a little bit too often for comfort. Robert Connolly's patience is just holding for the moment.
Well, it appears
Look at him all over him again.
I know, but it appears to be that Leeds' only option is the fact that Iro and Innes and perhaps Cummings can pull him out of it. And can this be it?
It is. Holroyd is all the way to the line. He's held up. A great tackle, a saving tackle for 4 points by... Was it Fawcett or Penrice? It was Penrice. Oh, that was a try-saver, but are they going to get in on the other side? Ball inside to Hanley. That was forward, surely. Cummins is there. Referee says forward pass. No try. What a tackle from Penrice that keeps the lead intact.
Well, a forward pass without doubt, but as you say, Penrice, how on earth? Earlier, this was the break. Holroyd looked all set to put the ball down, and look at this. Deary me, the strength there from Penrice shocked this crowd. Certainly shocked the full-back Graham Holroyd. That was Leeds back in the game.
It was a busting run from Richie Ayres that set up the chance for Holroyd. And Workington almost releasing possession there, just a few yards from their own line. Play on, says the referee. And Leeds desperate now to keep Workington deep in their own half of the field, and they're doing that at the moment. Mackenzie trying to get them out of it. That's the last tackle. They're just 12 metres from their own line. Oglenby will surely put boot to ball here. Well, he's decided to run it with Drummond, and Drummond will hack the ball downfield. Underneath it is Holroyd. Drummond, the man who came across to get the first touch in.
Super play, though, by Workington. Now, Leeds, once again, they all fell back. Last tackle, they anticipated that it was going to be a kick. Oglenby realised that, went to the blind side and found Drummond with no one in front.
Mazzini for Milo with that run. Vasilakopoulos, the dummy half. Schofield, Onta. Schofield again. Misses out Hanley, finds Ayres. Ayres has made one great break in this second half that set up a chance for Holroyd. But no chance there under the tackle from Heppy. Onta again, ball inside to Innes. Collision between Innes and Heppy. Last tackle for Leeds. Here's Schofield, who will surely hoist this one high. A tester for Mulligan. Penrice is there, so is Mulligan. Mulligan took it off him, but it was diffused behind their own line. But Schofield's kick causing panic between Penrice and Mulligan.
It was a superb kick from Schofield. No call there, and you could see the Australian Mulligan saying, I called for it. Keep out of the way. That really nearly came about for the try. Penrice going for it at the same time. But he was the try saver a few seconds ago that could very well keep Workington on the road to a shock win.
Tony Kay with the run, looking to get the ball out to Drummond. It was risky business, and Onta picks up the scraps for Leeds.
Well, that was silly play by Tony Kay there. They got away with a little bit of pressure, and then they applied it back on themselves.
Here's more pressure from Iro, who finds Mercer running strongly. This is Fallon. Fallon will cut inside, but there are three there to surround him. And this is a tremendous tackling stint from Workington Town. Can they hold out though now as Schofield finds Holroyd? There are men out wide. Innes is one of them. Ball back inside to Ayres, and again Workington bring the man to ground, and the ball goes into touch with the man.
Good cover, scrambling defence. You could see there was nowhere to go, and look how that cover comes flying in. That big prop forward, James Pickering. Every single ounce of this big man bouncing into the second row, Richard Ayres. Well, Eddie, you mentioned to Paul Charlton at half-time, it's a great day and a proud day to be a Cumbrian, and they have not let the side down.
Meanwhile, Workington Town have made a substitution. Paul Burns has just come off, and he's been replaced by young Stephen Holgate. And in fact, Paul Burns has just joined us after a storming game so far, Paul, but there's a lot of work still to do.
There's a lot of work. We've got to calm down, control ourselves, make sure we don't make any silly mistakes, just play the 6-out and keep Leeds up this end of the field. We're sliding across the defence and we're chasing, so hopefully if we keep chasing like we are, we can shut Leeds out. This next 10 minutes is going to be hard now.
For you to start the season with a try, though?
Oh, that's all you wishes. Oh, Leeds is... No,
he's dropped the ball, Paul. He's dropped the ball,
I've been
Paul
moved the second row for today's game. From last year being in the centre, so can't ask for more. I hope we get a win now. Thanks very much.
Heart in his mouth there from the man who's just been substituted, but he reaches out as a New Zealander. Now, did he get a hand to that? Not according to the referee, Robert Connolly. I'm sure there'll be plenty said after the game.
I think the downward pressure, Steve-O, was the wrong side of the line.
Another let off for Workington, but I'm sure they will not do what Tony Kay, the centre, did earlier. That's force the pass. They are in the driving seat.
Billy McGinty had a storming game for Wigan in that World Cup challenge against the Broncos. Another match that you saw exclusively live on Sky during the summer, and what a boost that has given the British game, and what a boost this will give the promoted sides if Workington can hang on here. Doncaster, remember, next week take on Widnes, this time on Sky Sports in the big league. Doncaster against Widnes, another of the new boys to the big league. How will they fare? They'll be delighted if they fare as well as this. Mulligan with the kick downfield. Holroyd is opposite numbers under it.
Well, you talk about a boost, and none better than when Workington brought on their substitute, the club captain Colin Armstrong. He really has got the shoulder working, got right into it both in attack and defence. He's leading the way by example.
It's Leeds in possession, but they're in the wrong half of the field as far as they are concerned. Don't forget the big league is back in full swing. Sunday, 8 o'clock, it's Featherstone Rovers against the champions Wigan. That will be a cracker. And we'll also have the highlights and tries from all the other matches on Sunday evening for you as well. So don't forget that. Oh, and Hanley's kick is swallowed up, gobbled up by young Stephen Holgate.
What a great catch from the substitute there. And that just indicates that Leeds are all at sea. We have not seen them put on a basic move. They've got to change their tactics. Okay, they realise they've got strength out wide with Iro and Innes, and they have made a few inroads, but they've got to change the tactics.
Lovely ball from Marwood to Fawcett. Fawcett with the strength. Iro's all over him, and Hanley helps to finish him off. It's Oglenby who's the dummy half. This is Marwood again. Really has caused Leeds problems. So has McGinty with strong running like that. What a good buy Billy McGinty looks to be for Workington Town on the evidence of what we've seen here tonight so far. Oglenby, good ball to Heppy. Pickering is there. Huge gap for Pickering. Suddenly closed down by George Mann and Gary Schofield. Last tackle here for Workington. They're 10 metres short of the line. Oglenby will chip one over the top, and the ball is caught by Cummins. But he can't get away from Des Drummond, one of the most experienced campaigners in the game.
Super play there by Cummings. It was a beautifully weighted kick from Oglenby. Once again working on that blind side. The winger, Francis Cummings, he certainly has worked hard. He's earned his corn today, but I'm afraid there's quite a few on that Leeds side. His fellow mates must be looking in the mirror if things do not change.
Hanley picks himself up away from Phil McKenzie. This is for Milo. That's what Leeds paid the money for. Strong runs like that, £95,000. The fee decided by a tribunal.
Well, there we saw a little bit of a change in tactics. We saw that the man running across at the angle, and then another big player like for Milo coming in. No use running straight. You've got to try to squeeze that little gap. And Workington have not left many.
Fawcett to Mulligan. Good tackling from Onta. McKenzie. Good run from McKenzie. Good ball too. Here's Oglenby once more, and Penrice, but he's met fair and square. Ooh, and he was kicking out there to try and get away from Farmilo. Marwood to Holgate. Bala tourist, that's the amateurs tourist during the summer. Peter Walsh says he deserves his chance, and he's got it here tonight. Armstrong with the run over the top, straight through Onta. Support's there from Pickering. Pickering looking round for support on the outside, nothing there. That's the last tackle from Hanley. Workington play it quickly. Heppy keeps the movement going to Mulligan. Leeds are all at sea. Oglenby, long ball out to Penrice. Penrice into Fawcett. Iro is there, and Fawcett manages to get the ball away. Is it 6 to go?
Should we play on?
It is play on now. But should the Workington man pick that up? Was there a Leeds hand in there as the ball went to ground?
Either way, they'll be pretty happy about it. Yes, it was Iro who didn't get to it, but the ball was going backwards. Pretty difficult for the referee to see. But Workington, they won't be too worried about that. Leeds in their own quarter, and with defence like that. What an enthusiastic performance by Workington Town. It's been tremendous.
Coming up to the hour mark, a quarter of this game to go, and Richie Ayres is in possession for Leeds. And we have got the chance here of one of the surprise results of the season. The new boys, Workington Town, starting strongly, but Leeds will come at them in the last 20 minutes here, but not like that. Forward pass again from Iro, and he has a right old go at Fallon for overrunning him on the pass.
Fallon just took that step too far. The big fella, Kevin Iro, he's created a lot of problems. He knows that they can still get back into this game. He's not happy with it.
Just listen to the crowd here though at Derwent Park.
Well, it's getting to that point now where Leeds realise they've got to go some individual skills. The teamwork has not got through this working in defence. It's got to have something spectacular. A little kick over perhaps from Gary Schofield. Something different.
Leeds enjoying better possession in the third quarter of this match, but it's Workington who are enjoying the situation on the scoreboard. 16 points to 8. It was described unkindly in the papers this morning as the road to nowhere, the M6 motorway and the A66 trunk road to Workington. After this display, few teams in the big league will relish the trip to the far north. Oglenby, he's been the star of the show, supported by McGinty.
Tremendous game as Martin Oglenby. He's controlled things. First man, a combination there with his other halfback, Dean Marwood.
And here is Marwood taking that short pass from Pickering, but for Milo all over him. Last tackle here for Workington. Ball with Mulligan. Drop goal attempt from Mulligan. Just spins wide of the post.
The idea,
know how important that 1 point might have been.
The idea was there. Now, did that come off a Leeds player? I thought it did. I thought the arm definitely got to it. Either way, Mulligan will be quite happy with it.
I think Mulligan actually is appealing to the referee that that was indeed the case.
Well, I tell you what, if it had gone between the sticks, you could guarantee the Leeds player would have been screaming that it was being touched. I reckon Vasilikopoulos definitely got the arm to that one.
But it really is scrambling play from Leeds, isn't it? There's no cohesion about them at all.
They're shell-shocked, and they've been shell-shocked. The big guns are out there. Look at the blue swarm moving up very quickly. We knew that they would come out firing for the first 20, but they are continuing on with the job.
On tap finds Schofield. Burns, by the way, has returned to the fray. Paul Burns in place of Vince Fawcett, the man who has really run his blood to water for the Workington cause. That ball comes free. Knock on. Ontak couldn't hang on, and he's having a right old go at his new teammates. Don't know what his English is like, Patrick Ontak. Not too bad, I think, but the look will say it all here.
He could have said it in any language, Polish or French. I can tell you the Leeds players would have known. He was looking for support. There is none.
Well, they are, what, just 16 minutes or thereabouts away from a famous, famous victory. That's better from Fallon on Heppy. Handling errors. Leeds are into double figures.
Bit of a swinging arm there. The crowd didn't like it. I suppose the hooker, Phil McKenzie, wasn't too fond of it either.
Here's Pickering.
They're just toying with this defence now.
Oglenby again. Fallon and Iro combining to bring him down. Penrice is the dummy half. Gets away from Fallon.
Once again, safety first. They'll opt for the kick. It's very good tactics.
Here's Mulligan. There's the kick. It's diagonal. It's caught the breeze. That's sail. Oh, I was going to say it's sailing out. It hasn't sailed out. Well, that was tremendous play from Workington. They rode their luck with that wind, dragged the ball back, and Holroyd couldn't get out of trouble.
What was wrong with the lead skipper taking that on the full, diffusing the bomb? You tap on the quarter line. You do not allow a ball to bounce. You saw there that it can go anywhere. They are well and truly rattled.
Leeds are making a change. Harvey Howard will return as Assini for Milo trudges off, and Howard, well, the eyes on Harvey Howard say it all. He has not enjoyed what he's seen sitting on that bench. Ball comes out. Penrice, was that a knock on? The referee says it was, much to the disgust of the Workington Town supporters.
Well, it was a pretty strong tackle and the ball slips out. No doubt about it. The ball was projected towards the Leeds line. Irrespective of whether you're facing your own post, if the ball is projected with your fingers. Good decision by the referee, Robert Connolly. But I think it's going to be more than a decision that's going to help this Leeds side. They've got plenty to do still.
Schofield with the ball to Innes. Certainly there's been danger whenever these two centres, Innes and Iro, have had the ball for Leeds, but haven't Workington Town coped with them very, very well.
Well, I'm surprised that Leeds have not opted to start doing something now.
Mile forward from Schofield.
And the touch judge has seen it. And there's a bit of a blue on. Oh, they're going to spoil this. The officials are in very quickly.
Harvey Howard's in there. Referee stops the clock. Eyeball to eyeball. Pickering is there. All the big men. They all come to the aid of the party, don't they?
They certainly do. You haven't seen much of the big forward, Harvey Howard. There you see a bit of a tit-for-tat. Swinging in. I'll have a piece of the action. I don't think I'd be involved with one or two of the fellas in there.
Harvey Howard. Colin Armstrong was there too. And of course, Harvey Howard has got a bit of a punch bag in his gym at home, apparently, where he does some of his training midweek. Thanks for that. I thought you might like to know that. But Colin Armstrong wasn't just swinging back on the rope to him, was he? He was getting involved as well. And referee Robert Connolly laying the law down, but it's penalty to Workington.
Well, I was just about to say that surely Leeds have got to start doing the gamble now. They've got to bring the youngster Graham Holroyd from the full-back position. They've got to move Schofield perhaps to that, or maybe Schofield to half-back, bring Holroyd in at number 6 and put Patrick Ontar in the full-back position, because quite frankly, nothing has been working. There's been no link, there's been no cohesion between the forwards and the three-quarters, and it is time. And when you have a talent like Graham Holroyd, you've got to take the gamble.
Here's Pickering. What a talent this fellow is. He will rattle a few in the big league this season, I fancy. Will James Pickering. So will Marwood. And Oglenby's not a bad little player either. Lovely step from Oglenby, but just beaten by sheer weight of numbers there. Marwood, the dummy half. McGinty. (16-8) as it was at half-time. Burns.
Once again, we see Workington Town working the blind side.
That's the Leeds try line. This is Marwood. And Armstrong drops it.
Bad mistake there from Armstrong. He's had a strong game. But dearie me, what a time to spill the ball when you're applying pressure.
Tackling, both sides working hard, but Leeds obviously with that tackle count against them working harder, but Howard under pressure surrenders possession again. You're right, Steve-o, Leeds are rattled. The big names, the big star signings, but Workington now have lost it.
But we saw
knock on, Heppy.
We saw on that occasion the big Harvey Howard. He went in, he did the right thing, he started to turn, he looked, no support. That's where the knock-on came about. The chance was there.
Leeds then in possession, and how desperately they need possession of that football as we approach the last 10 minutes of this pulsating match. The opening game of the 94-95 season. What a start we have had again. We had some classic encounters on Sky last season. If this is what is to follow, or a sample of what is to follow, we're in for yet more in 94-95. The most eagerly awaited season for some time. Leeds in possession with Iro. Iro cutting in field. There is danger every time this fella's got the ball. Ball inside. This time it's past Sticks. But what has the referee said? Forward pass. Richie Ayres can't believe it. Gary Mercer can't believe it.
Well, it was a big fella, Kevin Iro. He's been the thorn in the Workington side. And you see quite clearly the ball was being ricocheted. I think the first pass was okay, but it came off Richard Ayres and went forward from then on. And the referee, Robert Connolly, was having none of it. A disaster night for Leeds, but what a glory night for Workington.
But can Leeds rescue it? 8 points the difference. Less than 10 minutes to go. And Oglenby got a clout there for his pains.
Schofield going pretty high. Did skim over the top. Perhaps the winger was trying to milk the penalty. That's been a good feature of the Workington side tonight also. Good running from the dummy half. We have not seen it once from Leeds.
That's Stephen Holgate, youngster thrown in at the deep end here in the big league tonight. As indeed Workington Town have been thrown into the deep end with this fixture against Leeds. But my word, they've responded magnificently. Mackenzie was the kick in the field of play. No, it wasn't. It was out on the full. The ball will be brought back.
Not happy with it. A bad mistake. He realises with the clock ticking away, he didn't want to put pressure and find himself within his own quarter. and the coach, Peter Walsh, certainly ringing the changes.
Yes, Brad Heppy has gone, and back comes Gary Schubert, the prop forward. Schofield finds Holroyd, who finds Fallon. A bit of space ahead of Fallon. Penrice is there to stop him going for the corner flag, so he's forced inside again. And look at the way this swarming defence just brings the Leeds man to ground.
It had to be. That's probably the first set move that Leeds has put on this second half.
Mercer, long ball. He finds George Mann. Mann gives it to Innes. Innes, good ball out wide to Cummins, but as Cummins cuts in, he is cut down. Just confirming that substitution. Brad Heppy goes and Schubert comes back on. And Leeds in the danger zone, and my, how they need a try here. It's Hanley, their captain. Has he got the inspiration again to pull the fat out of the fire for Leeds? Vasilakopoulos on his own from dummy half, heading for the posts. Just held up short. The Workington Town crowd hold its breath. They know how important this last tackle might be. They're so close, Leeds, with Hanley. Back to Schofield. They're loading men out wide here. Schofield gets the pass out to Iro. There's no stopping him. Iro in for the try. And Iro, the man who really has been the danger for Workington all night, picks up the try, which puts Leeds back in the hunt for a dramatic comeback.
Good run from the hooker, Marcus Vasilakopoulos, took it on the blind side, and then a quick play of the ball, and the skills of Gary Schofield. You see how he used the Richard Ayres dummy on the inside, and this man is a hard man to stop. I'm afraid Paul Penrice won't be happy watching that again. Barely got a fingertips to it, but a quick play of the ball. Look at the dummy. You see how he uses the second row as a foil? It was enough to create the overlap, and look at that. Not the best effort from Paul Penrice, but Leeds, they are in with a chance.
An important kick for young Graham Holroyd, 2 from 2. This is difficult, but it's on the right side of the field for a left-footed kicker. And he has judged it to perfection. That's a brilliant kick from Holroyd. Carved it between the uprights. 2 points the difference. And my word, we are in for a dramatic closing session here at Derwent Park. Kevin Iro's try has given Leeds hope. Workington in no hurry to get this game back in motion. They are trudging to the halfway line. The referee has called time off. And the Workington Town crowd trying to rally their men for an important last few minutes here.
Well, he's been one of the players, as we mentioned earlier, Kevin Iro, a real thorn, but one of the very few on the Leeds side that's given any problems to this Workington Town defence. Now will they hang on, or will they still play with confidence?
Leeds have suddenly got a bit of vim and vigour, and here is the man who's provided it for them, Kevin Iro. Workington know they must pull him down, but Iro's strength is there for all to see. 2 points the difference. Leeds coming back in the last 5 minutes here. Are they going to snatch a dramatic victory? They're running strongly. Have they got the extra fuel in the bonnet? Not this time. Cummins, the ball bounces off his chest frustratingly.
So frustrating there for the youngster. He's had a top-class game. Probably his first mistake of the match, but didn't he come at a vital time? Relief all the way around for Workington. And it was just coming at a time where the Workington Town tacklers were just bouncing off. They were trying to go high instead of going low. There'll be nothing pretty now from Town from here on in.
2 points the gap. Workington ahead, 16-14. Just 4.5 minutes away from a famous victory. But Leeds know that they are 4.5 minutes away from snatching a dramatic win. That's Tony Kay with the run downfield into the Leeds half.
Good run by the three-quarter there. Took a lot of pressure off the forwards. Nice to see a three-quarters come in and want extra work. Help the team out. It's been a great team effort. Now what was that? It just flipped out. It's going to be a knock-on, or is it going to be a... Well, the referee is called for a knock-on. Lost the ball. Well, the ball definitely came out Workington way. And you see it. Now, if you can get a knock-on out of this one, that'll surprise me. Mackenzie didn't drop it. It went backwards.
Holroyd dabs the ball into space, trying to use that pace. Mulligan makes the fluff. And so close Mulligan was to surrendering the match then for Workington, but the referee has ruled it a knock on.
Good thinking by the youngster there. They took the option. Doing a play like that from a scrum win, not waiting to use up the tackles on this occasion. They know that time's running out. Good thinking, and it took the youngster to do it on his own accord.
So a vital scrum here for Leeds. Workington thought they had that. Marwood crept round the outside and picked up the loose ball, but the referee was unhappy. The scrum hadn't formed properly. Onta feeds, finds Schofield. He finds Innes. He is Schofield. Iro running strongly again. Iro all the way. Iro! Try! Dramatic stuff from Leeds. They are snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat. It's unbelievable, but it's Kevin Iro who has done it for them.
The beast has run rampant late in the second half. A bad mistake by the fullback Mark Mulligan. It's a shame, he's had a tremendous match, but they paid the price of going far too high on this big fella. And time again over so many seasons, the big Kiwi. This is a kick over. This is where it all came about. The youngster took the gamble. Graham Holroyd on the first. The win from the scrum, the mistake it came about, and this was the killer blow to town. The crowd here are stunned into silence. Look at the power there. They went far too high. The second row of Paul Burns paid the price, and the big Kiwi sails in. The smile, for once, is on the Leeds players' side. He never gave in.
2 tries in 5 minutes for Kevin Iro. Holroyd with another difficult conversion attempt from exactly the same spot as last time. This time he just pushes it wide. So instead of it being 2 points one way, it's now 2 points the other. And Leeds, for the first time, hit the front. Drama all the way on the big league. A minute plus whatever the timekeepers add on for the stoppages, but Graham Holroyd and Kevin Iro have combined to perhaps give Leeds their first win of this campaign in the most dramatic of fashion, Stephen.
Well, he could have been the hero and he could have been the villain, couldn't he? If Mark Mulligan would have taken that ball cleanly, you could be sure that Workington Town would have just played it out very steady in the forwards. And I, for one, would have been questioning the act. But full credit to the youngster. He is going to be a great star of the future. Had a great season, Holroyd, last year. And he chimed up on the blind side of the thing. Now, was that a lash out with a boot? Pickering tried to milk the penalty.
Howard, a rampaging run from Harvey Howard. Support there from Onta. And he is hauled to the ground by Schubert. The little Frenchman looks like he's going to be picking up winning pay on his debut after all. Schofield, long ball from Schofield. Richiers gets the ball back inside to Innes. Last tackle here for Leeds. They now are in no hurry. Schofield with a drop goal attempt. It won't reach and it won't run dead, and Mulligan must pick up quickly. And he gets out of jail and does well. Well, he doesn't get out of jail, he's hauled back. That's a great chase, led by Hanley and Innes.
Tremendous chase there. The tails were up. Wasn't the best attempt from Gary Schofield, but at least went dead in goal. Look at the pressure here. Plenty of men around. And Leeds now, surely, will just play out their 6. They don't need to pass. This is where they control the game.
We're in stoppage time. We've had a minute of it. And Leeds, in the last 5 minutes here, look like they have snatched the victory that for so long looked like it was never going to come.
Takes me back to the opening weekend last season. Remember when Oldham, they outplayed Bradford Northern so well. I remember Watson scoring late in the game, in fact the dying seconds, and it absolutely demoralised Oldham. Let's hope it does not do the same thing to this Workington team side.
It's Richie Ayres dragging Leeds further and further towards those Workington posts. Vasilakopoulos will lay it back. It's with Schofield. Schofield for the line, but hauled down. Holgate at the play of the ball. There was a lash from Schofield. This is Drummond. Tries to run straight through George Mann. Cummins is there though. That's been a good battle between Drummond and Cummins, and hasn't the youngster done well against the veteran Des Drummond? Here's Pickering. There can't be much longer to go. We've had 2 minutes of stoppage time. Is there yet more drama in this match? Well, perhaps it might come Leeds' way, because here comes Harvey Howard, who's certainly made a bit of a difference since he has returned to the fray.
Certainly gone right to it, but the mistakes are coming now, the Workington side.
Onta, short ball to Mann, long ball to Iro. Are we going to get a hat-trick from Iro? Well, maybe not, but here's Mercer, and Mercer clinches the win for Leeds. They've come strong in the last 10 minutes. Suddenly they can laugh and smile and dance with delight. And Gary Mercer has won this match for Leeds, a match that for so long looked to be slipping away from them.
Well, it's all about Iro. He's certainly the man, isn't he? Look at it, it's a beautiful pass here. The beast, he's at it again. Lovely run around there. Mercer combined well. They're putting it together now. I'm afraid Workington are shot to pieces. But put it down to Kevin Iro. Good loop run there from the second rower, Mercer. They worked well together, the two Kiwis. The icing is on the cake, but dearie me, it took a long time baking.
3 tries in the last 10 minutes, and all the Kiwi connection for Leeds. Holroyd again with another difficult conversion attempt. Disappointment for the Workington Town faithful, who turned up here in numbers. But great joy in the end for the Leeds fans, who made the long trip up to Cumbria. And there is the final siren. It's all over. Leeds have won in the most dramatic finish that we could possibly have wished for. Iro with 2 of the 3 tries in the last 10 minutes, clinching the victory for the men from Yorkshire. And it is they, and not James Pickering and Workington, who get off to the best possible start. Gary Schofield knows how important this 2 points might be. 6 wins away from home throughout the whole of last season. Leeds have started their travelling well in 94-95. A good win for Leeds, but Kevin Iro, the man who did it for them.
Really lets us down in terms of entertainment, and the players of Workington and Leeds have done really well here tonight. Workington so close to a magnificent start to the season, but 3 tries in the last 10 minutes, 2 of them from Kevin Iro, clinching a win for Leeds, a win that for so long looked as though it was going to elude them. Nearly 5,000 here. They must have enjoyed the night despite the defeat for Workington, and I rather fancy a rather relieved Gary Schofield is talking now with Bill.
Gary, a win in the end, but my word, you made life difficult for yourself.
Yeah, it was. I think our big problem was the ball control. Really, you know, we was setting up for set plays, but
we can't hear it here.
The ball in the second and third tackle, and unfortunately, against any opposition, you're going to pay the price, and we did that. We was patient in the end, and we got the 2 points what we came for.
Certainly a bit ring rusty though in the first half.
Yeah, it was. You know, we haven't had any pre-season games, and obviously with a new face, it's going to take a little bit of time to sell. But you know, we've got to go to a start. We've got the 2 points, and something that we can build on.
And I suppose if you're going to take anything positive out of this game, it was that maybe, unlike a Leeds side of old, you kept plugging away and you didn't throw the towel in.
Yeah, we did. You know, I think the most important thing about this aspect was that we was patient. You know, we know the game is for the full 80 minutes, and in the last 10 minutes, Workington made a few mistakes, and with the class of players we've got, then we're going to, you know, they're going to pay the price for it. And Kevin Iro got in for 2 tries, and Gary Mercer at the end there. So, Yeah, there's a lot to work on. Look at the video, but you know, we're pretty happy coming here for 2 points, and it was going to be a long journey home, but we're a bit happier.
You must have been worried at one stage, though, when it looked as though time was running out.
Yeah, it did. You know, when Kevin went over for that try and was 2 points behind, I think there's about 4 or 5 minutes to go, and we said control the ball and get in their 25, and we'll try and take the chance if it came along. It came along there, and Kevin went over, but a lot to work on. But I think the most important thing about this is our ball control. If we can control the ball, our defence is pretty solid. Kick and chase game is okay, but we're going to take the chances. But the most important aspect is ball control. If you don't hold the ball, then you're not going to win the football games.
I think experience may be told in the end.
I think it did. You know, there's a big partisan crowd here. You know, they're working to speckies, and they really got behind their players. But you know, in the end, they may have felt that. But I say we're pretty happy. We've got the 2 points, and we're at the top of the league to see how long we can stay there for.
Yeah, he makes a good point, doesn't he? They're top of the league at the moment. For how long? Well, there's the match facts for you, and really the second half possession statistic right at the foot of that caption tells its own story. And Leeds certainly came strong towards the end of the match, and 3 tries in the last 10 minutes. Perhaps Workington Town just ran out of steam and ran out of puff at the death. Well, I'm sure that one man is, without doubt, the hero of Leeds tonight, Kevin Iro, the beast from New Zealand, and he's with Bill.
Kevin, that was really a skin-of-the-teeth job.
Yeah, we really done it tough tonight. You know, Workington played really well. We just made a lot of basic errors in the first half, and you know, we weren't holding the ball for 6, and they capitalised.
But give you credit, at least you kept plugging away.
We had to keep plugging away. You know, we didn't have any warm-up games, you know, pre-season, so we knew it'd probably take a bit of time to, you know, get into the game. But yeah, you know, like you said, we done it really tough.
Did you think you'd maybe left it too late?
Well, you know, we just had to keep plugging. We started getting the ball wide. We started making a few inroads out wide. Our forwards were tackling all right, and you know, we were quite lucky, really.
Certainly room for improvement.
Oh, definitely, you know, but that was our first game of the season. We didn't have any warm-up games. A lot of these other teams have had a few games under their belt. So, you know, there's definitely room for improvement.
And now, I think the expectation is always high with Leeds. You've got off to a winning start as you did last season. It's just keeping the thing going, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, we just got to consolidate, and we've certainly got the players and the team, you know, to do the business. It's consistency more than anything that we need.
2 tries in your opening game of the season, though, can't be bad.
No, not too bad at all. Yeah, always happy to score some. Cheers.
Thanks.
Happy man, Kevin Iro, but only just those tries coming in the last 10 minutes of the game. Leeds then coming into this match with no pre-season encounters on which to draw a bit of breath. And Steve-O, I suppose, when they look back on it, perhaps they would realise that they skated a bit on thin ice here tonight.
If there was any ice at all to start with. I think they'll be very disappointed. I think Doug Lawton will realise that he's made a big mistake in perhaps not having a build-up to it. There was no cohesion within the forwards, and there was no cohesion within the 3 quarters. There was no link, and luckily the 3 quarters got them out of it in the end.
Well, what a night it has been for Workington Town. Big crowd. Sky here live with them for the first time, and I suppose a proud but no doubt disappointed coach, Peter Walsh, with Bill.
Peter, your verdict on that defeat?
Well, obviously very disappointed, mate, to lead for 75 minutes and not come out with a win. Obviously very disappointed. The boys are gutted in there, but at the end of the day, they realise that Leeds didn't beat us, we beat ourselves. You know, you turn the ball over 19 times, and you do that to a second division side, you get made to pay for it. And you know, unfortunately, Leeds have got some class acts, and Kevin Iro more or less got them out of it. And so we've got to learn from that experience. I said before the game, win, lose or draw, we've got to learn from it. And the boys realise, well, you know, they competed at a level that was supposedly one of the best sides in the competition, and on paper anyhow, that they can compete week in a week basis. You know, we've got Cass next week, so we're going to have to improve our ball control because, you know, they've got pace out wide and they just destroyed us because you give yourself enough rope, you're going to hang yourself sooner or later.
Do you think experience came into it as well? They knew what they had to do, and it was a new situation for your lads?
Yeah, you could have done right. As I say, you know, we're going to learn from that, and they're positive in that dressing room. Obviously disappointed in losing the 2 points when we control the game, but you can only control the game if you control the ball. And you know, we turned the ball over 11 times in the second half. You know, we went in leading 16-8 at half time. All we had to do was control the ball, complete our yardage sets. We win the game hands down, and you know, we turned the ball over 11 times and completed 6 and 6 only. You know, so we just played dumb in the second half, and as I say, we've just got to learn from it.
But you must be proud that you gave Leeds a real contest.
Yeah, well, I always knew the commitment. You know, these blokes from up here and the blokes that have joined us, they'll always give 100% for commitment. And, you know, we've only had 2 ball work sessions Tuesday and Thursday for a game today for the whole season. So, as I said, we're going to get better. I'm positive about it. The players are positive. And we're going to go down to Castleford next week and lift our ball control. Our defence is okay and compete down there. Cheers, mate.
This is the Kevin Iro try, the first of his 2 tries that got Leeds back on track for the win, Steve-O.
Well, he was one of the few players tonight, but it was a nice little inside dummy. We saw Richard Ayres run across, and they just held off him. It wasn't the best attempted tackle. You can't go high on such a big man like that. And it set the scene for a real cliffhanger.
We have one of the best full-backs that Workington have ever produced with us, Paul Charlton. Paul, Mark Mulligan, poor old full-back, he won't want to see this very often.
No, you're dead right, Eddie. The guy should have killed the ball stone dead. He should have dived on it, stopped it rolling, killed it. Even if it was an awkward ball to pick up, he should have booted it dead. Get it out the road, you know.
Because as a result of that mistake, Leeds got head and feet at the scrum, and this happened. Iro in again, Steve-O.
Well, it's all about confidence, isn't it? And at this point in time, I'm afraid Workington's heads were well and truly low. I think the fact that Mulligan made that mistake, you could feel everything just went down. Even the crowd went down, we went down. It was a tremendous game. OK, Leeds didn't play all that well, and they've got a lot of work to do, especially in the combination between the 2 halfbacks. But the thing that disappointed me more than anything was the fact that a star-studded forward pack did not work. They did not roll their sleeves up, and they were totally outclassed by the Workington 6. And that is another big problem for Dougie Lawton to get through. He's paid out big money for these guys, and I'm afraid they did not repay him tonight.
I can't understand really that Leeds, Paul Charlton, came into this match without having a pre-season game just to get things going, just to get things flowing, because it's all right to do it on the training pitch. You've got to do it in a match situation.
Absolutely right. You know, you've got to have match fitness, you've got to get your timing together, and you could tell out there tonight that it wasn't there, not at all. They were scratchy right till Mulligan made that mistake, then they started to perform on the last 5-6 minutes.
And they, at the end of the day, they are the ones that were smiling. Workington, I mean, it's a test of their character now, isn't it, for the rest of the season? They've got to pick themselves up after this.
That's absolutely right. You know, Steve said early on, before we started, that a few teams are going to come up here and find it hard. Later on in the season, well, on tonight's performance, it's starting now, right from the kick-off. And it's great for Working to be able to do this, coming out of the second division into the first.
Absolutely. They matched them, didn't they? They matched Leeds toe to toe right the way from the start. Steve-O, good night also to Paul Charlton. Great to see you. Thanks for being with us. There we go then. That's the first one out of the way. Leeds will be delighted. Workington, a bit disappointed.